What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome to episode 22 of my Eastside Hockey Manager Early Access Let's Play here with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and we are going to be continuing today with our playoff campaign. We are into kind of this second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. We are taking on the Lightning, which I kind of left as a cliffhanger last time. Of course, last year the Lightning won the Stanley Cup, so they are the kind of team to beat, really. If we just look at it here... where do I want to go? We're going to want to go to the NHL. So you can see here the results. We'll cover them in just a second, but so you guys can see the playoff tree and what's going on. You can see that our series is currently 3-1 to ourselves over the Lightning. We'll talk about that in just a second. Tampa Bay not been an easy opposition, however. You can see the Wild and the Stars are 2-2 in their series. The Preds have knocked out the Kings 4-1 in the Western Conference playoff semi-final there, and also the Pens are currently 3-1 down against the Capitals, which is a bit of a surprise, really, just because they knocked out Boston, and Boston were one of the really good teams, and the Pens topped their division, so the Capitals going very, very strong there. So that's kind of the playoffs at the moment. If we look at the Lightning, you can see here. If we look at their history, is it history? I was going to try and show where they won the NHL last year, but I honestly have no idea where that screen would be. I wish I knew. I wish that I wasn't still a noob at this game and I could show you everything. But you can see here kind of the overall league table. I don't show this very often, but it's here. So you can see that the Lightning actually finished 7th overall. They were actually 4th in our conference, so they are no pushovers by any means. And they do have a very, very strong squad. If we just look at kind of selection info and then look at their players with the best average ratings, you can see Bishop in goal for them. Their goalie is incredible. He's their big player, really. They fall back on him a lot. He's not made this series easy for us, and he is a very good player for them. They've also had some good players perform, like Steven Stamkos, who you can see here, who's just a well-rounded titan of a player, really, on the centre of the ice. So he's a good player. And as you can see here, Victor Hedman, a real kind of, assertive player in the defensive quarters. He's just a monster, really. He doesn't let you have time on the puck. Fortunately, we have played fairly well. Of course, we are live coming an elimination game today. So just to show you guys this series so far, we won the first game 3-1. It was a good performance. As you can see, JVR getting 2 key goals for us. And to be honest, this has been a low-scoring series, relatively. Of course, EHM at the moment does seem to have a weird issue when it comes to just the amount of goals being scored. However, this game was a weird one. We've got some weird jitter in the match engine. Hopefully that sorts itself out. But yeah, it's been a weird series just because there's not been that many goals. Of course, we have a good defensive record. The Lightning have the 3rd best defensive record in our conference in the kind of regular season. So they are a very solid defensive team. And as I mentioned, they have a great goalie in Bishop, who's kind of been holding us out. But we played pretty well. And despite these low-scoring kind of results, we have grinded out wins. The games, to be honest, have been fairly close, but we've edged them just enough to give ourselves a lead. It is 3-1 in the series at the moment. Just showing you guys some of the highlights from the first game here. I won't do this for every game just because there's so many to go through. But as you can see there, JVR, 2nd goal of the night for him, the one that's kind of secured us the win. Looking at the stats here, really, really even game. In fact, they edged it, really. If you were to look at it, we had less power plays than them, but we killed off their power plays. 4 out of 4 that game. We've done really well with the penalty kills this year. You can see in this next game against the Lightning, Richard Panik, an unlikely hero perhaps, the Slovakian, coming big for us. 25 now he has. I was about to say he's gone up an age or gone up a year this year, which would kind of make sense considering it has been pretty much a full season. But yeah, this was a good result. 2-0 it finished, 2-0. Panik getting the goals. Very tight game again. Perhaps this one we edged slightly more. We had better board play won and playoffs won percentage-wise. And then just 2 more games to tell you guys about. We lost 2-0 in the first away game of this series. We started the first 2 games at home. We went to Tampa Bay, and as you can see in this game, they were the better team. They won 2-0. They were convincing. They shut us out, and I was a little bit worried. You know, the first few games had been pretty tight. This game hadn't been anything but convincing. And, well, yeah, you can see here that we had a few more shots than them, but really they always were in control of it. We didn't score, and, well, you can't win if you don't score, can you? Anyway, the last game and the most recent game was another 3-1 win, actually. This was, of course, bouncing back from that 2-0 defeat. And as you can see here, we kind of won 3-1. Very good performance. Kessel grabbing 2. JVR, man of the match performance for him, really. 2 assists and a goal. Kessel with 2 goals and an assist as well. Our kind of frontline duo really stepping things up in the playoffs. They were a little bit quiet perhaps in the first series, but you can see here JVR with 10 points in the 9 games so far in the playoffs. And if we look elsewhere, you can see Kessel with 13 in 9 too, including 9 goals in 9 games played. He's been just an absolutely huge player for us, and I cannot kind of, I guess, put into words just how well he's done. Shaw's tailed off a little bit, did a great job in our first series, but all in all, things are going really well. Things are going well. There's not too much to tell you guys about besides the playoffs. You can see here, Alexander Radulov is a player who's come up as a free agent. I've actually approached to sign him, but his wage demands were pretty large. But you can see here the Sharks, Flames and Rangers also in for him. Might be another free agent to add to kind of the little collection who we have coming in at the end of the year. He's got first line talent. He's a good player. He wants $4 million a year, which I've offered him $3.5 million for the first 2 years of his contract. And then for the last 2 years of the 4-year contract he expects, I'll give him the $4 million he wants. So he might be a player who comes in. He looks like a solid player, and if we get him in, great. If not, he's getting a little bit old at 29, and I won't lose too much sleep over it. But it was a player who I decided to put an offer in for nevertheless. So anyway, we are leading this series 3-1. I'm hoping that we can just put in a good performance here. As I mentioned, the real strength for the Lightning is Bishop in goal for them. So I'm hoping that we can really, I guess, work some magic here. You can see we're going to stick with the key highlight system. See how we get on here. I'm not sure what the game's doing. I'm not sure why we're watching the start unless there's going to be a highlight straight from kind of, well, the start, which is a distinct possibility at this point. So we'll see what happens here. As, well, is that icing called? I think it was. Well, that is slightly anticlimactic start-wise, considering I was just bigging it up to potentially have a real kind of chance early on in this game. But yeah, we'll see how we get on, and as I say that, Strahlman scores for them. So yeah, I said there was going to be a goal early on. 11 seconds in, the Lightning open up, and that's concerning. It's worth noting this is the 5th game, of course, in this best-of-7 series. We are at home for this game, and we did win the last 2 games at home. So I'm hoping we can step things up here. But after the first, we've been really disappointing. If we just take a quick look at the shot chart and stats, you can see here, it's a pretty tight game at the moment. We've won a lot more off the board. They've had more face-offs won. But we're doing okay. With us winning more board plays, I'm almost tempted to tell the players to dump the puck a little bit more. So I think that's what we're going to do. Unit instructions. First line. Let's dump the puck just a little bit more because we're winning more of it. So why not go for it? I've actually left it on rarely on the second line. Probably not the brightest move. Let's just go back and sort that out. I'm getting ahead of myself here. I'm getting a little bit excited. It's the playoffs. I do really like the dynamic of the playoffs. Of course, the playoffs going on kind of in real life at the moment as I watch this. It's the first kind of NHL playoffs I've watched really eagerly, where I'm trying to stay up for every game until kind of 4 AM for me in the UK. And so I kind of find this a lot more relatable now than perhaps the first time. And as I say that, we score. Kessel with the assist. Van Riemsdyk with the goal. Said that they've been big this series. They've been our 2 main men through the course of the last 2 years, really. Last series, we fell back on a few other players, but they still chipped in. This series, league of their own. And looking at it here, we go into the third with the scores all level at 1-1. If we just take a quick look at the shot chart, it's a tight game still. I'm not going to change too much, but our face-offs are a little bit concerning how few we're winning. But we have a face-off here. If we could win this one, this would be a big one. We are in their zone. It is going to be Bozak there for us. He pulls it back, and we give away the puck, and suddenly they break away, and well, we won a face-off. But that's not the result we wanted from winning the face-off, I guess you could say, as they just hit us on the break. However, 7 minutes left of this period. We still have time, although they're lining on the attack again here, and they score again. Is it Druin for them with 2? Not a player who I've had loads of attention drawn to by my scouts, but he does appear to be playing in their kind of first line. And unfortunately for us, we find ourselves 3-1 down here. And at the moment, the series sits, or would sit, at 3-2 should this score stand. And perhaps then it becomes squeaky bum time. We would still have 2 bites at the cherry, of course, only needing the 1 game win to win the overall series. But that would still be a little bit concerning. Of course, in the last series, we did win 4-1 against the Red Wings. This series, it's 3-1 at the moment. A win here would have given us an equally convincing win. However, it's just not happened for us. And that's concerning. That does worry me somewhat, but who knows, maybe we can make some magic happen here with the next game coming up. I feel like this game's done. I could pull the goalie at this point, but to be honest, at 3-1, it kind of feels like this lead is insurmountable anyway with just 20 seconds left. So we're just going to let this play out as I have to despairingly watch my team kind of fight to the bitter end here, knowing that there's probably nothing they can do. And the final horn will sound there. Lightning winning this game 3-1. They take the series to 3-2, still in our favour. You can see the Capitals have won their series. The Stars take a lead in the series over the Wild. But yeah, that's not great. That is not great. As you can see, the USA beating Belarus 9-0 in the World Championships. Could you get anything more exciting than that? Probably not. I didn't even know Belarus played ice hockey. I didn't realise kind of how big ice hockey was in Eastern Europe. I can't say I've seen the nation Belarus thrown around too much whilst I've been playing EHM, but I was kind of obviously already aware of the kind of sport being fairly big in Russia, but I didn't kind of realise it expanded quite as far as places like Slovakia and such. But anyway, Anton Carlson has agreed to transfer to the Coyotes. I guess they already had the youth rights for him. They did. They drafted him in the round 3, so they've now approached him permanently. You can see the scout report here. It's the same scout report pretty much throughout the entire series. Bishop's goaltending is the big thing for them. Hedman is the hard hitter. Stamkos is their kind of focus on the offense. Who was the player who scored against us a few times? Let's just take a real quick look at him. I feel like his name began with a D. It was this guy, Jonathan Drouin. I'm still kind of familiarising myself, I guess, with players in the NHL. This guy looks incredible, really. 21, really low salary per year. Got 1 year left of his current contract. Not the biggest player physically, but looks like a fairly nippy player on the ice, a good mobile offenseman. And yeah, well, his name is now kind of, I guess, on my what would you call it? He's on my board. I know that he's there. He's like, I've got a cork board in the dressing room, and I'm kind of telling the players what I expect from them. And he is now a name that we have written in big red pen ink, and we know that we need to be wary of. For some reason, my assistant has a weird obsession with trying to play a Nylander on the left wing, which he doesn't play there, so I don't really understand why he's doing that. I'm actually going to play him on my third line as a centre, which is kind of where he's been playing a lot this season. But anyway, we're just going to get straight into this next game. We are now away against the Lightning, the 6th game of the series here. Currently, the scores on the doors are 3-2 in games to ourselves. Last game was another low-scoring game, really, with it only finishing 3-1. No massive kind of thrillers, I guess, when it comes to goals being scored. And we are playing in our white jersey here today as well. We've just had an absolute mare there. A short-handed goal for the Lightning. Bernier with an unconventional and kind of unusual, I guess, howler in net for us there. It looked like he had it completely under control as the puck got sent his way. But I'll tell you who else has just had a howler. The Tampa Bay defence, Yarmouson. I was about to say the D-man. Well, he is the D-man, I guess. But he's found himself high up the ice. He's won possession of the puck, applying some pressure in their zone. And he makes a nice little finish there to make it 1-1. And it's looking like it's going to be another tight and nervy game here. We do have a power play. Not going to make the most of that. And we are now at the end of the second. If we just look at the shot chart here, we're having a lot more shots than Tampa Bay. They've had 20 in total, including 11 that have actually reached the net, whereas our end we've had 35 in total, so almost double the amount of shots. We are edging board plays and face-offs, so I'm not going to change too much here. I don't think. I think the one thing I am going to do actually is I'm going to change the team tactics, and we are going to play with just our first 3 kind of offensive lines and just our 2 defensive line. So we're going to focus really on our strength in our first and second blind DYs, and then on the offense, we're looking at our front three lines ready to offer us it. I want to get maximum ice time for our talent, but there is just 2 minutes left here. We could be going to an overtime. It's been kind of unusual, I guess, by our standards, not to have an overtime in this playoff series so far, but this game could go all the way, although we are on the attack here. That was an opportunity for Booth, cutting inside. Unfortunately, however, could not find the net. The goalie, Bishop, the big man for the Tampa Bay Lightning, standing firm there. We do have a face-off, something that we struggled with last game, but this game we seem to have done a lot better with that, and we are again testing Bishop here. Just 82 seconds left of the third, though. And we're having some face-offs in their zone. We're not winning them, though, or we've not won that one at least, but this time, I don't want it to go to overtime. I don't know if my nerves can handle that, especially having lost the first game of this series that I'm live comming. Of course, it is still 3-2 in our favour, but time is slipping away here, and I think, unfortunately for us, I've got a sneaky feeling this could be going the distance. Stamkos and Nylander are going to meet in the face-off circle. Nylander wins it, but cannot make anything more than that. And I found out actually today that Nylander's name is Nylander. That's how I should be saying it. I'm going to try and break that habit of a lifetime, but having said it probably hundreds of times in my head, that, well, Nylander-wise, it's going to be tough. And we actually had a chance there right before the horn, but we didn't make it count. We go into overtime 1 here. Next goal wins, 20 minutes back on the clock. Can we get a goal here? We've been the better team throughout this game, or at least in the first 2. If we look at it here, we have still been the better team. Almost 60 shots in total. But right now, well, apparently we just scored. Well, I've just missed that. My bad. This is awkward. Who scored? Who scored? Yarmison, the hero. I don't know what to, we won. Should we get the highlights? I feel like we need to rewatch that last goal, but that is now the most anticlimactic finish you'll ever see. So this was the opening. Bernier with an unconventional error. Yarmison then got his first goal of the night. 2 for the big D man, coming big here, but well, I don't know what he's doing that far up the ice, but I'm not going to complain. He charges it down, he decides to go for it, and then 11 minutes into the overtime, we scored, although I'm really confused because apparently he saved it. Apparently. I'm really confused. It looked like the goalie saved it. Am I going crazy? Let's try replaying that highlight. Either that or this is a highlight bug. There's only a few things that can explain it. Okay, so we have a face-off. Okay, now the highlight's actually playing properly. That's a good sign. So we had the face-off. I'm going to assume it just gets pulled back to Halmerson. Although Halmerson isn't even on the ice at this point. I guess we must do a line change it somewhere down the line here. No, the goal just changes. Well, the highlight's bugged. Apparently we did score. Answers on a postcard. We win in overtime. We take the series 4-2. And we march on to the furthest stage that we have made, and that I have made, ever in EHM, because of course this is my first ever save. If we look at the playoff tree, we are in the Eastern Conference Final. We're going to be taking on the Capitals, who beat the Pens 4-1 in their series. They finished 5th in the overall conference. You can see here the Wild crashing out against the Stars, so it's going to be the Stars v the Preds and the Leafs v the Capitals. In the conference playoff finals, of course, the winners of those 2 games will meet in the Stanley Cup playoff final. Hopefully I'll see you guys for the next episode, which of course will be the kind of big game, I guess, against the Capitals. It'll be some kind of elimination game. Hopefully I'll see you guys for that. If you've enjoyed this episode, as always, smash the like button. If you've got any comments with regards to this save, leave them down below. And other than that, it is me, Jack, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.